Yo, 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 top of the morning. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Um, I got to be very efficient with my time today. I got about 30 minutes. We're going to jump straight into it today. No promo, none of that stuff. Let's just jump right into it. Did go 1-1 yesterday. Took the over in the Spurs and the Kings game, thinking it'd be faster pace, and the Kings couldn't score a point in the third quarter. So that stays under the total. And then I took James Harden under his points. I think it was 21.5. That was a winner. So a 1-1 split yesterday. I want to go through a couple of the games today. Just check the comments very, very, very briefly. But we're going to jump right into it for today. What up, Bryce? What's up, Jacob? Bryce says, I'm not getting email. So I haven't sent out anything on Substack yet, Bryce. Just trying to wait until I get a little bit more time, man. Corey says, Chris, over 217, 218.5 was good money last night. Thanks for the breakdown. Damn near like all dogs today. I expect these boys to play hard and keep them close. Yeah, I think 217 was the Clippers game, right? Yeah, they forced a bunch of turnovers, and I kind of saw that coming. Jacob says, I'm holding Knicks plus 1.5, but I'm going to the Sixers game today. Do I cash it out? No, don't do it. We're going to talk about that game in a second. We got NBA Cup today for sure. What's up, Brian? BJ in here as well. Good morning, Jose. Good morning, Whip. What's up, AB? Morning, Corey. Says he's taking Atlanta plus 15.5. Boston going to be so public today. Corey likes the Pistons. All right, let's jump into it for today. What up, Justin? My guys, Mark in here as well. JW says, remember last year they were hooping like it was the playoffs on Tuesdays in the Friday tournament game. So I sent it out to the members last night, but for the people who don't know or may need a refresher, I guess I should probably talk about this just for a quick second. I'm not going to go through every game today either, but there's a couple games that I did want to talk about. So I think I put this in the look ahead. So in the event of two teams being tied within the group, the tie amongst the teams will be broken according to the following tiebreakers in sequential order. So head-to-head record in group play, point differential in group play, total points scored in group play, record for the 2023-2024 season. So therefore, you do want to score as many points as you possibly can. Even though we've seen some money come in on the unders in this spot, man, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with some of the unders, but I do think the totals are about where they should be. So let's jump into it for today. First game up, we have is check Jackson out if you haven't. First game up, we got Charlotte and Orlando. So you got the line has moved. This was I think this was like 6 when it opened, and now I'm seeing touching 8. Total in this one has come down as well. I'm not sure where it opened at, but it's down to 213 now. Injury report, I think Miles Bridges is still going to be out for the Charlotte Hornets. He's going to miss at least 2 weeks. So you got Miles Bridges out. You got Trey Mann listed as game time decision. They're still without Nick Richards, still without Mark Williams. So you got Taj Gibson starting at the center position. And then on Orlando side, same two. Just Paolo Banchero and Wendell Carter Jr. So I'm looking into the game last night, and the first thing that kind of stands out to me is I want to take under. Charlotte has really, really struggled to score this season. They are 7-1 to the under in their 10 games that they played so far, with 5 straight unders, all cashing. They went under even in over. They're also coming off an overtime game, but they went under even in the overtime game against the Philadelphia 76ers. So I'm like, it's a Charlotte fade spot. They're not great offensively. 105 points against Philly. Only 103 against the Indiana Pacers, 108 against the Detroit Pistons, 93 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is not a fast-paced team. They are playing a little bit more defense with Charles Lee being there, though. Held the Philly to 107, held the Pacers to 103, held Detroit to 107. So outside of that game against Minnesota where they gave up 114, this has been a pretty good defense. Then I look at Orlando, third straight home game for them. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Pacers tomorrow. They're coming off 2 really impressive wins against the Washington Wizards and the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't want to lay this type of number. Like, this implies that they're going to get blown out. I think Charlotte can keep the game close. Charlotte has covered 3 straight games. They're 6-4 against the number so far this season. They've actually covered 4 of their last 5. So do I think they can keep it close? Yes. Do you need a big game from LaMelo, especially without Miles Bridges being there? You're also going to need a big game from Brandon Miller. But I kind of feel like they can keep it close. Like I think that I just don't want to lay this many points with Orlando, so I don't like the spot for Orlando as much. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. Like I said, we'll keep it moving really, really quickly to the next game. What's up to my guy Burns? Keelan in here as well, says good morning. What's up, Wendell? Says first time here. Jamie says, hey Chris, good morning. I have a 4K parlay waiting on the Celtics under today. Wager your thoughts on under 232. I like it. We'll talk about that in a second. I think that's a really good under though. What's up, Tariq? AB says public factor might not cause as much for the NBA cap. Teams kind of take the cup serious, and I agree with that. What up to my guy PZ in the chat? Aaron says, good morning, Chris. I'm going to take the points with Charlotte. I think they can keep it close. Yeah, it's Charlotte plus the points here for me as well. Like I said, I like the under. I don't like that I missed the best of the number, so I'm probably going to stay off of it. I think this was like 215. It's down to 213 and a half right now. I think I see 212 as well last night. I'm capping the games like as the second half of the games that happened last night are on, and I just missed the best of the number. But I think it's under or nothing. I do think it's an under or nothing game. Maurice says I'm a ride under. I'm gonna ride with you on that. I didn't play it, Maurice, just FYI, but that's what I'm thinking. CG3 says he likes the Hornets money line. Don't know if I could quite get there, but Orlando. The thing about Orlando, though, and I talked about this the other day when they lost to the Pacers and they had lost 6 straight games and had failed to cover 7. I said the best thing about for Orlando is they got the Pelicans up next. And then I didn't even play the game. They opened 4.5. Zion got ruled out. They closed 8.5. They won that game by like 20 plus. And then they hit the Wizards. So they played against two of the worst, probably 3-4 teams in the NBA over the last 2 games. Charlotte's not that bad. They're not that bad. I'll be taking the points here if I'm playing the game. Let's move over to the next one. We got Atlanta and Boston. So super inflated line here. 15 is the number. I saw this yesterday at 12, I think it was. And then Trae Young ended up getting ruled out. For people who don't know, they're also going to be without DeAndre Hunter. No Bogdanovich, of course, he's not playing. So I'm thinking about the game last night as I see the total dropping, because this total was at 232. Shout out to GLB Bets. He put this in the chat. Speaking of GLB, there he is right here. What's up, GLB? He put this in the chat yesterday. I didn't even see it. But he said he had a system on the under in this spot. And the under makes a lot of sense. These two teams, of course, have played already this season. I don't like the under as much right now. This total has dropped 10 points when you think about Trae Young not being there. But I'm thinking about Atlanta and who's going to play point guard for them. Like, I guess Dyson Daniels is going to be the point guard because Bufkin already is out. Like, that's their backup point guard. He hasn't played at all, which is why Trae Young assists have been good money because he has the ball in his hand so much. On the opposite side, you got Jason Tatum listed as questionable. I kind of feel like he's going to play. You also got Al Horford listed as questionable. And we got to remember, Jaylen Brown is back in Atlanta. This is where he's from. He typically plays these games really, really tough and tight. So maybe looking at some Jaylen Brown props in this game. But going back to the under, and like I said, I'm not going to play it now at 226 because you've lost 10 points of value. It feels like the sharp money or the people who put their bets in early probably got a lot of CLV. We'll see what happens. The Atlanta team total, I think, is like 104 and a half or 105 and a half. And you got Boston at like 120. And they probably get to 120 in all honesty. I think Atlanta probably turns the ball over a little bit more with Trae Young not being there. Because Dyson Daniels is not a true point guard. By no stretch of the imagination is Dyson Daniels a true point guard. I want to try to let me see if I can find. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can find Atlanta real quick. I do think the game will be played at a slower pace as well. We won't see an Atlanta team that's going to really try to run up and down the floor. Atlanta is 19th in turnover rate right now. So they already turning the ball over a lot, 15.3%, which is almost bottom 10. Without Trae Young, Boston probably scores as many points. And that's the thing that scares me with the under is because Boston can absolutely dominate this team. This will be the second time that they've matched up this season. Boston beat them 123-93 in the last game, and that total stayed under 232. That was less than a week ago. So when you, less than a week ago or a little over a week, when that total opens lower, you typically want to take the under. It's typically an under spot. Atlanta only scored 93 points in the last game. It wouldn't surprise me if they stayed under 100 without Trae Young and no real point guard in this game. Just so you guys are getting my thoughts on the game. Player prop wise, I do got something that I want to share with you guys, and it should be if you're not new to the show, you should be no stranger to it. Clint Capella under. His rebounds is back at 8.5. He's gone up and over. I think it's the perfect time to sell Clint Capella rebounds. And we've cashed on the under a couple times so far this season. He did burn us with the over against Detroit, but there's blowout potential with a 15-point spread, of course. You got the minutes limits potential as well. Clint Capella minutes have been they actually been on the increase recently. The last 2 games he has played, he only played 18 minutes in the game against Detroit, but he did play 25 minutes in the game versus the Chicago Bulls last game. So back-to-back overs for Clint Capella. He had a 12 rebound and a 9 rebound game. However, for the full season, he's under 8.5 rebounds in 7 of his 11 games so far this season. And like I said, it was no Durant in the Detroit game. And I think Chicago, they don't have a lot of rebounding either. So when he played Boston earlier this season, he finished with 5 rebounds. And he played 16.8 minutes. I think there's potential that Clint Capella doesn't see the floor as much. I told you guys Jalen Johnson is their best rebounder. You got Onyeka Okongwu coming off the bench. So I will be playing Clint Capella under his 8.5 rebounds today. I have not locked it in yet. Let's see. What up, Will? Reminding everybody hit the like button. I appreciate that, bro. Maurice says Celtics first half sounds like a good spot. Celtics team total over first half and points sounds like a good spot. JW says Dyson Daniels at point guard is crazy with Holiday on him. Yeah, I mean, if you could find Dyson Daniels turnovers, that might be a good look today because, I mean, it's going to be a lot of pressure for him to try to handle the rock. And I'm pretty sure Jalen Johnson going to take on some of that distribution and ball handling because Jalen Johnson's a pretty good assist guy. But yeah, I find it hard to see Atlanta scoring 100 points in this game if Boston, really wants to go out there and play really, really good defense. And I do think Atlanta's pace is going to be slowed down. Boston already doesn't play at a slow pace, but they could get hot from 3. We know Atlanta's 3-point defense is one of the worst in the NBA as well. So couldn't talk anybody off of, some 3-point props. Not anything that I'm going to be playing here though. Brian says you may be able to get a better number live at the end of the first quarter. Celtics for the total. I agree with that. AB says Derek White under his rebounds and assists. Zena says Clint Capella under points plus rebounds. MGM not expecting him to get many minutes in this game, and I agree. I think the minutes could be kind of all over the place. Tatum may be questionable. Tatum is questionable today, just for people. I think I mentioned that, but Tatum is listed as questionable today. Tatum's injury is, what is it? A left ankle sprain. So there's potential for Missoula to rule him out. I mean, they don't need him to win the game. I'm not sure if they need him to cover the spread, honestly. This is not a great roster without Trae Young for the Atlanta Hawks, and I mean the spread kind of indicates that as well. Let's keep moving. Next game up, we got the Miami Heat and the Detroit Pistons. Not sure where the line opened at. Not gonna just make something up, but I want to say that Miami was laying maybe a point or two, point and a half a point or a full point more in this spot. Detroit, I mean, just continues to get money poured in on them. And the total in this game was what I wanted to bet. I wanted to take under. So injury report, Jimmy Butler is out for Miami. And on the Detroit side, Isaiah Stewart is listed as, I think he is listed as probable right ankle sprain. Jalen Duren is also listed as questionable. He's missed the last couple games for them. And I think Sir Thompson is cleared to actually start getting his conditioning in, even though he will not be a part of this game today. So I'm looking at this game. Like I said, the first thing that I thought about was I wanted to go under. The Miami Heat have owned the Detroit Pistons just overall in general. Like this has been the little brother to the Miami Heat for quite some time. The Heat have won 9 of the last 10 games, but Detroit typically covers the number. I think we were on Detroit in game 1. They played on my birthday, the 28th. Miami did end up winning the game, but yeah, we were on them plus the 8.5 because they ended up covering by a point. I vividly remember Detroit not being able to score in the fourth quarter, and I think Tim Hardaway Jr. might have hit a 3 that really kind of kept us in it, and we ended up getting a cover by 1 point. The last 3 matchups have all gone under. 4 of the last 5 have gone under. 7 of the last 10 have actually gone under the total as well. But this total has dropped. These are not 2 really good offensive teams, 2 bottom pace, as far as pace wise, 2 bottom 10 pace wise teams, and 2 top 10 defensive teams as well. Miami's not in the greatest spot. This will be the 4th straight road game. And they played 4 of their last, this will be 5 of their last 7 games have been on the road as well. They only came home for that 1 Sacramento game, and they are coming off a 1-point win as a 7.5-point dog. Typically a spot you want to fade long term, especially when you land just a point in the next game. Detroit, man, they've been really, really feisty. They're 6-4 against the number. Here's my problem with taking the points with Detroit today. Not that they won't be fired up and motivated for the game. They're coming off a 2-point loss to the Houston Rockets as I think they ended up finishing like a +4 in that spot. But the Detroit games, like, you're not getting those big numbers with Detroit like you were last season. Detroit was famously, 6.5 points, 5.5 points, 8.5 points. Now the odds makers are already starting to price Detroit because they understand that Detroit has been playing a lot better. Defensively, they've looked really, really good. They only allowed Houston to score 101 points. They held Charlotte to 108. They held the Lakers to 103. They held Brooklyn to 92. Like, this is a really good defensive team outside of that Atlanta game. And they actually won that one. So and it's the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Bucks tomorrow. And it's the 3rd straight home game for them as well. So this is one where you probably get a better number live, in my opinion. If Detroit if either one of these teams go down by 8-9 points, I think that this will come down to a 1-possession game, potentially 2-possession game. So I don't want to bet it live. I don't want to bet it pregame. I'll try to get a better number live. If I had to put a bet in, it probably would be towards the under. The head-to-head matchup earlier, that game finished. The last 3 games have actually gone under the total. Even at 214, it's going under the total, 214.5. So if I had to play here, it would be under. It would be the way that I'm looking. Let's see what you guys are saying. Mark likes the Pistons on the money line. Tyler says Pritchard to the moon. Blowout means he'll get his minutes, maybe 20 to 25. I love this look by Tyler. I think Pritchard was sitting at 14.5 the last time I looked. It may have came down just a tad bit, especially if Tatum is rolled out with that ankle sprain. This makes a lot of sense to just take Peyton Pritchard to go up and over his points prop. He's killing right now. Peyton Pritchard is absolutely killing. Would not surprise me if he went off in this game. Jimmy Butler is out, Mark. Bogey is out as well, Brian. Justin says, I see 216. I've been staring at it all morning. I like the under. He says, now down to 215. I don't know, man. It's hard to take player props in a potential blowout. I kind of want to take some unders on the starters. Yeah, it's been profitable. It's definitely been profitable. Numbers are showing Pistons. It wouldn't surprise me, Burns. Would not surprise me, especially without Jimmy being there. Without Jimmy in the Minnesota game, they played it very, very slow. They won that game 95-94. Like, you're talking about 90s basketball. Whip says he's looking at Tyler Hero under on his points plus rebounds. It's hit 80% in the last 10, 100% head-to-head versus the Detroit Pistons. Currently sitting at 78% hit rate in 2024. Okay. Pistons have been great lately with rebounds. Yeah, the thing about the Pistons is they really struggle to finish games. It's just a young team. You're led by Cade, who's been in the league for a while now, but he's still learning. And Cade's absolutely been killing. I think his points prop or his points plus assists is actually probably something good as well. What's up, Brian? He says he took the Pistons plus 1.5. I like the Raptors and the Mavericks also. Ain't bet them yet, though. Okay. Dougie Bones says, y'all know what I'm on, man. He took the Pistons on the money line here today as well. Tariq likes Hero points in the under. What up, Charles? And shout out Chris in chat. Whoever said Mitchell first quarter yesterday morning, appreciate y'all. Yeah, somebody said that. Donovan Mitchell been going crazy. Like, I don't even think you got to bet on the Cavs anymore because they're gonna probably start not covering spreads. But Donovan Mitchell is absolutely on a heater. Markel Duran is not officially ruled in yet. He has not been ruled in yet. All right, one more game, I think, and that is the Knicks and the 76ers. This is one that I just kind of slept on this one, but I knew what I wanted to do. I just hadn't done it yet, and I still haven't done it yet, if I'm being honest. So injury report, You do get Joel Embiid back. This will be the first game Joel Embiid plays. So you got Paul George, you got Joel Embiid, Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, and Kelly Oubre. And then, of course, there's no Maxey. He's been ruled out. On the Knicks side, I didn't think that this line was going to move towards the Knicks. It's open, I think, at 1.5 in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. The totals come down, and money has come in on the Knicks and made them favorites here. With Miles McBride listed as game time decision due to some knee inflammation, I kind of thought that because the Knicks don't have a bench, we know that the Knicks bench has not been that great. You also got Campaign listed as game time decision. He's listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. That's a lot of depth, especially from a guard position on that Knicks bench. This is the team that put the Knicks that put the 76ers out of commission last year. And this is not the same Knicks team from last season. So real quick, I wanted to let me tell you guys the spot real quick, and then we'll get to the game. So the Knicks have been excellent so far. They are coming off a loss. They've been excellent coming off a loss this season. They're only 4-5 straight up, 4-5 against the number. But the 76ers are 2-7 straight up, 2-7 against the number, and they're coming off an overtime game. So the Knicks were in Indiana on Sunday. They gave up 132 points in that game. And they just literally could not stop they could not stop the Pacers from hitting threes. The Pacers hit 21 threes. They shot 46% from the 3-point line, and they were down a couple players. They didn't have Neesmith. They didn't have Andrew Nembhard, but Tyrese Halliburton hit 4, and Ben Mathurin hit 7 and scored 36 points. Now, I say that to say this, and that's like the Knicks in this spot today, is because first of all, you got Philly coming off of second leg of a back-to-back. You got Philly coming off an overtime game. I know it's the Cup game, but this is also this first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow. New York also play the Bulls tomorrow, back in Madison Square Garden. So I was looking into Knicks trends because they've been kind of all over the place. So if you just follow the patterns with the Knicks, they beat Detroit, and then they get smoked by the Celtics. They beat the brakes off the Pacers. Then they lose to Cleveland. Then they beat the brakes off Miami. Then they beat Detroit. But then they lose to Houston. They lose to the Atlanta Hawks. Then they come back with a dominant win against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now they lose to the Pacers. They haven't lost back-to-back games outside of Houston and Atlanta. And a big part of it has been their defense. One thing I was looking into, I'll just read this to you guys, something I found on Twitter from their beat writers. The Knicks starters is one of the 10 lineups in the NBA that have played more than 100 minutes. Of those 10, they have the second best offensive rating, 120.7, the worst defensive rating, 122. The reason why, in my opinion, the defensive rating doesn't really matter as much, in my opinion, is because Philly has really struggled to score. This will be Joel Embiid and Paul George first game back with no Maxey. I'm not sure how you take that. I know that the Knicks should theoretically Philly should be better. I don't think I want to fade Joel Embiid in his first game back, in his first game with Paul George and without Tyrese Maxey. This offense is going to look totally different. And like I said, I think it's a buy-on spot for the Knicks. They've been 3-1 straight up and against the number when coming off a loss so far this season. So I do think that they win. Tommy Beer, beat writer for the New York Knicks, says that the Knicks have the NBA's second worst net rating in the fourth quarter. They're minus 13.7 this season. The numbers are even worse this month. Over their last 4 games, the Knicks defense has allowed more than 123 points per 100 possessions in the fourth quarter, and they posted a putrid net rating of minus 21.2 in the final frame. Last week, only 12 players in the league logged 150 minutes. 4 of those 12 were Knicks. Brunson, Bridges, OG, Hart all averaged over 37 minutes a night. New York's 4 games last week. Cat wasn't far behind, logging 35 minutes per game. So if you put the combination of what I just said, the Knicks falling short late, and Joel Embiid first game back with Paul George, this sounds like a Knicks first half spot for me. I think, like, if I can't trust the Knicks in the full game, But I do expect the Knicks to win this game. And I think Joel Embiid going to be a little, like it could potentially take him a while to get adjusted. Sounds like Knicks first half makes a lot of sense. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. I have not played it yet, though. And we do a quick recap real quick and get up off here. Let's see. Knicks money line for AB. That's what I'm looking as well. What did y'all land on Hornets Magic? I'll be taking the points with the Hornets. I think 8.5, 7.5, 8 is a little bit too much money. But you could let the money continue to come in. That opened like 5.5, 6.5, and it's up to 8. So see where the line goes. Tariq says I jumped on the Knicks early money line. He got some CLV. Jaylen Brown first quarter points if Tatum is out. 83% hit rate. Perry says appreciate that. PZ says he got Clay over 14.5 in his pocket in that later game. Tyler says I love Cat over 22.5 points over in five games. 5 of his last 6 games versus Philly. He's just been balling versus with the Knicks. I agree with that. I do agree with that as well. I don't really trust anybody outside of Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson to be able to score the basketball. JW says he likes the Heat step down in competition after beating the Timberwolves. Yeah, but the Heat, the Pistons coming off a loss. I don't know if I agree with that, JW, but I didn't bet it. Blunt, what's up, bro? Hope all is well with you. He says, I like Philly here, Chris. 76ers. They're a completely different team with Embiid. I know for some teams, one player doesn't decide a team's success, but with Embiid, it's just a different, huge difference. And I agree. I just think it could take a game or two. If the Knicks were coming off a win, I'd probably be on Philly today. But I don't like Philly based on the overtime game. I don't like it that this will be the first time that they've been on the floor together, both Joel Embiid and Paul George. And I'm pretty sure Joel Embiid's going to be gassed in the fourth quarter. They got OG Anunoby that they can use. Like, they got the defenders, in my opinion, and I'm still not ready to trust Philadelphia offense quite yet. So it's Knicks or nothing for me here. Let's see. What else y'all saying in here? Embiid points only at 23.5 pieces. I didn't even see that. Okay. Knicks first quarter. First half for me, dropping dimes. I like it. That's what I'm thinking as well. This game is I think the total has dropped a little bit too low. This was at 220 last night, cheeseburger. I think it might have been 220 and a half. I will say this: Portland got the worst offense in the NBA. I think we can agree to that. I was watching them play against Memphis the other day. We're like 1 for 19 from the 3-point line. Like, this is not a good offense at all. Timberwolves probably going to be a little pissed after losing as well to the Miami Heat the other day. So yeah, and they just beat this team by 30. So I like the minus 8.5. Did not quite get to the window with it though. OJ says he likes Embiid over. CG3 says Cat and Joel over 2.5. Punches landed. All right, cool. All right, so let's get into a quick recap of what I just talked about that I like and the way that I be playing the games based on what I know so far. I'll tell you guys what I had written in my notes for last night, first and foremost. So this is what I had written in my notes. I had Boston, Atlanta under. That total is not low enough for me to feel comfortable taking it. That total is not good. I don't feel comfortable enough taking it. Miami, Detroit, I had under 218.5. I didn't bet it. The total was gone before I could finish the handicap there. And then I also had Toronto plus 8.5. That's down to 7.5. Damian Lillard is out for people who don't know. He has a concussion. No way I'm laying that many points with the Milwaukee Bucks. Toronto first half, I think if you can get a 4.5, it's good money. They tend to run. They've been running out of gas at the end of the game recently. Against the Lakers, they ran out of gas. Against the Clippers, they ran out of gas. Against Denver, they ran out of gas. And it's the last game of a long road trip for the Toronto Raptors. I like Phoenix today. They were 2.5 last night. I think they're up to 3.5 now. A lot of trends in system that says you back the team that just lost just lost, facing a team that just won as a dog, especially in their first game back home. So I do like Phoenix today. Utah team total under 113 with no KD. I do think that Phoenix is going to rely a little bit more on their defense, and I do think Minnesota wipes the floor with Toronto. I think Minnesota wipes the floor with Portland again today as well. So those were what I had written down in my notes yesterday. As far as today, I'd only be taking the points with Charlotte. Like I said, we just kind of talked about it. The New York Knicks, whatever their first half number is, it's probably like minus a half, -1. I do think that that's the really good play based on what I read you guys. And then we go on Clint Capella under on his rebounds. This should say rebounds. Under 8.5 on his rebounds, especially with the potential for a blowout here in that game. Haven't bet any of them yet, but I'm probably going to lock in all 3 of these. And I'm probably going to be on Knicks for the full game as well. I do think that they get the job done in Embiid's first game back and first game with Paul George. So that's what I'm thinking for today, man. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I do got to run. Won't be able to get back into all the comments, but appreciate everybody for tapping in as always. Check out the resources if you guys are interested. It's a resource link for all of them in the description of the video. Catch you guys in the next one, man. Enjoy your, what's today, Tuesday? Enjoy your Tuesday. I'm out.